Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here is Monday morning, and we're doing Monday Moment. And the Monday Moment happened last night in the CBL in Winnipeg at Canada Life Center. The Niagara River Lions showed a team of guile, tenacity, experience, wisdom, and knowing how to win, and repeated as CEBL champions last night. Calgary was the favorite. Calgary was a team that had won 7 games straight and have been absolutely running through the last part of the CBL season into the playoffs. But their luck ran out. In some ways, there's certain things that Calgary did last night that were not winning ways, and the things that Niagara River Lions were doing were winning ways. A lot of what the Niagara River Lions did was the same thing they did to the Scarborough Shooting Stars on Friday night in beating them in the Eastern Conference Finals. And a lot of that is stifling defense, a tenacity where you're just always bogging people. It looked very much like the Raptors, the way they were getting deflections and annoying people, getting in between passing lanes, getting after it is basically it. And their big man, Fonlu, he actually epitomizes it. The guy off the bench who comes in, he epitomizes that get after it, that spirit. In the game on Friday against Scarborough, Niagara was in a bad position with rebounding. Scarborough Shooting Stars have a huge front line, and they out rebound everybody. But to beat Scarborough, Niagara had to use this big guy, and they dominated, and they got in there and fought for every little bit, and they ended up beating Scarborough. Some of it was poor management of the game at the end by Scarborough. That led to Niagara getting past them. In some ways, Niagara should have never got past Scarborough on Friday in the settings that were in the target score time. Even though Khalil Ahmad, the LionKing, was playing for Niagara, and he's just dominant in that target score time, the chance for Scarborough to just beat Niagara for last Friday was there, and they screwed it up. None of this would have happened, and Scarborough would have been playing Calgary in the finals. But alas, experience and wisdom and executing correctly as a winning team in tough, crazy situations matters in basketball. And the Achilles heel for both Scarborough and the Calgary Surge last night was hero ball. Hero ball. Hero ball, a term I've used so many times on this channel. If somebody wants to go play hero ball, that means they're putting too much on their own shoulders to try and carry the team to win. And they're going off on their own, trying to do an isolation play by themselves without including their teammates. And that was the fatal flaw that Terquavion Smith made for the Scarborough Shooting Stars on Friday. And it was the fatal flaw that Jameer Nelson Jr. made last night for the Calgary Surge. Yeah, it was tough. I mean, Calgary's an interesting team. They really do rely on kind of an inside-out attack between their two guards, Nelson and Gilliard, and then a couple of their bigs down low doing certain things like Ruggsy, just playing energy-wise down low to try and do stuff, Brown, people like that. But this is the thing. You got to play as a team to win a team sport. And in the end of the target score time, Niagara's playing off each other. They're making plays. They're passing to each other. They're dumping off. They're using each other as teammates. And quite often, some modern day basketball players default to hero ball in these pressure situations. They want to be a hero. They want to go ahead and dribble themselves, try and beat somebody one-on-one and score a one-on-one. That's never the right choice. It's a team sport. If you're such a badass, you're such a hero, you dribble into the lane, you draw the attention, and you kick that ball out to an open guy on the outside. They make the shot. Michael Jordan to John Paxson. It's that simple. That's what you need to do in those situations. In some ways, I don't care if you're Kevin Durant. I don't care if you're DeMar DeRozan. In some ways, even though you're that kind of crazy clutch scorer right at the end of the game with like 2 or 3 guys on you, you don't play that way. You need to go in, draw the attention, and kick it to the open man. The open man has a more open shot. You win the game. Team ball. The hero ball will lose every time, and Calgary Surge is guilty of hero ball at the end of the game last night. Jameer Nelson Jr. in particular, trying to force shots into the lane. Now, one of them he was successful. He took it right to the hoop and kind of climbed one of the Niagara River Lions bodies to get to a layup right at the front of the rim. and that was good at that time because they were clawing back to get the score closer when target score time happened. I mean, they did do a good job of that. They were down by double digits for a while, and then they clawed back and got it to within like 3 by target score time. So they were only down by 3 at target score. That's a very doable margin to overcome and try and win the game. But the execution in the target score time was much more flawless with the Niagara River Lions. They took care of their possessions and they really tried to execute. And Calgary needed some stops, honestly, but they were not doing well at defense at all during this game. Not at all. They weren't able to stop the Niagara River Lions when they wanted to, and they really needed to stop them at the end. A big, huge X factor for the Niagara River Lions last night was Hill. Hill off the bench came in and hit some major shots for 13 points. Looking at their box score real quick. Early in the game, it was Kayo. Kayo came out and was bombing threes, and he kicked some major butt. He was, in the end, 2 for 9 from 3. Nathan Kayo with 14 points to help out the River Lions to win. 6 rebounds, 3 assists also for Nathan Kayo. So he was early on doing a lot of stuff for them. Then later on, it was Ahmet Hill, who big time in the second half of the game, 13 points for him with 6 rebounds and 2 assists. And yeah, he was really big. And then, like I said, Elijah Lufili off the bench is just a big presence as a defender and a rebounder. He got 4 offensive rebounds, 9 rebounds altogether, 2 assists, and also 2 block Rs. What does block R mean? Blocks received. Okay. Oh, he got blocked twice. That's no good. But yeah, those guys were key off the bench. Hill and Lufile, very, very important. And then, of course, the main guy, the MVP, 2-time MVP, two years in a row, back-to-back, Khalil Ahmed, the LionKing. He won the MVP again last night. He was MVP last year when Niagara won the championship last year. So the River Lions went back-to-back, guys. They're repeat champions. And Ahmed got 16 in this game. He didn't shoot incredibly great. He had 9 rebounds and 1 assist. But yeah, he had swagger. And he was the one who won the game for them in a way because he had to go to the line and hit some free throws to win the game at the end. And he did. He ice cold it. He hit the free throws and they won, hit the target score. And Niagara River Lions, CBL champions once again as of last night in Winnipeg. And yeah, fantastic stuff. I mean, this is the thing, it could have gone either way. In some ways, Calgary was the favorite. But once again, the team that plays together like a team and plays better defense and does those kind of things wins in basketball. And, Evan Gilliard was not helpful in this game in some ways. They really took him out of it. They played good defense on him, in particular the captain for Niagara River Lions, McKenzie, really shadowing Evan Gilliard II, really, really tough. And not allowing him to get going. He was 3 for 15 from the field, Evan, with 13 points. And normally this man's going off and really trying his ass off. But he was kind of contained in the game last night. There were a couple times where Evan hit 1 3 real quick near the end of the game. I was like, oh, this is what they need. They need Evan Gilliard to come out there and start bombing and making threes, and they'll catch up. But alas, Evan had a hard time getting going. And even the Calgary coach pulled him at key times near the end of the game. And it's like, well, Evan's not even on the court to try and help them catch up with scores. So it was a tough game for Evan Gilliard. Wow, man, the guy's awesome. We hope he's back on Raptors 905. Fantastic, successful season for him on Calgary Surge this year because he wasn't supposed to be there this long. He was supposed to be just in for a hot cup of coffee, hang out as a replacement, but temporarily. But he got taken on, and they liked him, and he stuck around. And that's been fantastic. Yeah, Jameer Nelson Jr., 4 for 17 from the field, not shooting much better than Evan. 13 points for him. Yeah, those 2 guys are the engines for the Calgary team. And when they're not going, well, Calgary ain't going. They ain't going. That's just how it is. Greg Brown with a monster 17 rebound game, really pulling everything down for them on the other side. But yeah, it was a tough game for Calgary. They had played so well for a long string of games, and it caught up to them. In some ways, it's indicative of if you're a team that's going to rely on small guards outside to hit threes for you to win, well, those threes ain't going to hit at some point, and you're going to be in trouble. And that's kind of what happened here. That's kind of what happened. Niagara had the winning kind of attitude, scrappiness, get after it, full effort, playing hard defense, playing together, playing on the same page, and boom, you win. You win. That's it. So congratulations to Niagara River Lions, repeat champions in the Canadian Elite Basketball League as of last night. There's been 7 champions in the history of the CBL. The 7th season ended last night. And Niagara's 2-time champions the last 2 years, Scarborough the year before. And then Edmonton's won twice. The Honey Badgers won once. And also Saskatchewan won the very first CBL championship, Saskatchewan Rattlers. So yeah, it's an interesting league. And I think that, like, we had a really good turnout watching it last night. I appreciate Adriana, Isaac, Wayne, Rob, all the different people that came in and watched the CBL game with me on Discord. My father was watching with me in person, which was fun. And, it was fun to have the community together to watch the game together. And I think the overwhelming sentiment by a lot of people that were watching is the CBL is a fun product to watch. It's high quality and it's a good time. Robert going on about that at the end of the game. Stillman saying, man, I can't believe how good this game was. The professionalism of the product and the presentation and just the whole weekend in Winnipeg. It just looks fantastic. CBL is on its way, guys. It's on its way. And it makes sense. The Raptors are extremely popular across Canada. Basketball is an interesting sport to a lot of people all across Canada now. The championship made a lot of people more interested. And while these cities, they thrive and they thirst for Raptors to come and play exhibition games in the preseason, like what will happen in Vancouver against the Denver Nuggets next month in the preseason, in October, I should say. And, these communities want live basketball. They want to watch basketball. So the CBL is filling this need in communities like Saskatoon and Langley and Montreal and Niagara and Winnipeg. And it's fantastic because like the basketball fans are all across Canada and they're coming out. And they came out for that championship last night. I mean, it's not Winnipeg's team playing in the championship. It's Calgary versus Niagara. But Winnipeg fans came out just to see a championship game in a neutral site. And it was very well attended. So, basketball is growing in Canada, and the CBL is a really good barometer to test where it's growing to. And, man, it's so nostalgic to hear Rod Black do the call. It really harkens back to the earliest days of the Toronto Raptors franchise when you'd hear Rod Black and Leo Routens calling the game. And, it's fun to hear Leo. I mean, not Leo, but Rod. And, it's a fantastic product. I mean, the basketball is really good. At halftime in the game last night, Jameer Nelson Jr. hit a over half-court shot and nailed it at the buzzer, and it counted. I mean, he didn't take a Steph Curry half-quarter. He was beyond on the other side of the court on the shooting it like maybe 10 feet on the other side of the half-court line to make a whole almost a three-quarter court shot, which he drained. There was a beautiful alley-oop in the first half. There's just like good shooting. These guys are hitting threes and they're putting off the steam machine behind the goal. It's just a good, fun, quality, high quality league. That championship trophy is badass. It looks like it tastes like maple syrup. Looks like a maple cookie from Dare. It looks so good. I mean, but yeah, and it's a fun story. I mean, the LaFonle, the big guy, Elijah, plan for this championship is this his third CEBL championship in a row because he was on Scarborough Shooting Stars 2 years ago when they won. And then he went to Niagara and he's won 2 years in a row with Niagara. So this guy's got a Patrick McCaw going on right now where he's won the CEBL championship 3 years in a row now, 3 rings for the big man, Elijah. And well, last night he wanted to get 1 ring for his brother, Mishak. So he's like, yeah, let's go. Because he has 3 brothers and they all play in the CBL. And his one brother's with him. It's kind of like a Giannis, Thomas, and a Compto kind of situation. But he got that trophy. And after the game, he's holding it and he's getting interviewed by Heather Morrison on the court. And he says, our mother died a couple years ago of cancer, and this is dedicated to her. And it's just a really special moment, man. So CBL, good job. You guys got the assignment done. And I think this year was fantastic. And in some ways, you're going to be busting open more and more awareness of your league and more people will be coming. And I'm for it, man. I enjoyed it so much. And in some ways, I can't wait for next season to get back to the Pan Am Center and watch the Scarborough Shooting Stars play more home games in my home market, get to that arena and watch some basketball live in the summer in Scarborough at the Pan Am Center. That's right. CBL action is awesome. It's awesome. So kudos to the CBL and everything y'all did this year. You did a fantastic job. You hooked me. You got me involved. I was not totally paying attention to you guys up until this year. Yeah, but now I am. I'm hooked. And I will cover the CBL more carefully and more consciously on this channel going forward. And that's part of the reason why we're talking about their championship yesterday. It's like a dedicated streams to the CBL, to the obviously to the tempo. They're coming. And Team Canada, along with the Toronto Raptors. That's what you can expect on this channel. That's right. Trevor J is in the house. Commissioner Fun, Trevor J, thank you for being here, sir. Once again, your attendance is always noted and appreciated. That's right. This is what he's saying. Money can purchase all the world's possessions, but one thing money cannot purchase is life when your number is called. Hoo-wee! Now, that may not be true because you know what? There's a lot of breakthroughs in medical science, and people are trying to cheat death. They are. They're trying to pay for cryogenics. Is Michael Jackson somewhere in some chamber somewhere still? And they're keeping him alive to come back? It's Walt Disney's head in a bottle. And they're going to try and bring Walt Disney back at some point. I've heard those rumors. You know, there is some truth that there are new techniques and scientific research going into elongating the lifespan of human beings. And there is some breakthroughs coming. I'm not going to lie. There really is. The possibility for more longer lives because we know our bodies better and what causes cancer, what causes different issues for people to break down and to pass away. There's some breakthroughs coming, and you guys might be shocked to know that there are people that may live 200 years that are living right now. I'm serious. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? Yeah, it sounds really crazy. But the way the science is going, and this is something that I've studied in grad school, longevity, mortality, lifespan. There is going to be extended lifespans coming, and there will be a medical breakthrough that allows people to live artificially longer than they should. It's going to be kind of interesting. I'm telling you, it's going to be straight out of sci-fi. But ultimately, I think Trevor's right. The number will be called at some point. You may be able to postpone it for a little while, but ultimate immortality and invulnerability is not attainable at this point. No, it's not. But they're getting closer. That's what I would say. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Good morning to you, MJ. Hope you had a fantastic weekend, you and Fiercely Jr., and hopefully she had a good tryout and things are going good for her in all kinds of different ways. Just wishing the best on a Monday morning for Fiercely and everyone in her life. UC saying, good morning, Raptor Freak Gang. Good morning. Congrats to the River Lions for their chip. Yeah, it's a big deal. They earned it, and they're two-time champions. In some ways, that's good because it builds the lore and the history of the CBL. And in some ways, this is the franchise that's adding accolades. Niagara River Lions. Niagara River Lions is actually a franchise that's been around longer than the CBL. It's a team that existed in other leagues. I believe, I forget what the league was called. It was a Canadian league, but it had American teams in it also. But then the league was going nowhere. It wasn't well promoted. It wasn't as professional as the CBL is right now. And the owners of the River Lions were like, screw you guys. You're not serious about our product, and we want to go somewhere else. And they jumped ship, and they went to the CBL. And that's been a huge, smart decision for Niagara River Lions franchise. Because I believe that Niagara River Lions have been around since like 2010, guys. This is not a new team. This is a team that's been around for quite a while. Yeah, Wayne Stramer's here. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Dog days of summer, grinding down. Yeah. The C&E starting to roll into the exhibition place down near the eyesore that used to be Ontario Place and Doug Ford's big Therme scandal with a company from Europe that doesn't know what they're doing and they're mismanaged. And Doug Ford just felt like handing a bunch of Ontario tax money to a company that has nothing to do with us. What an idiot. What a crook. Doug Ford, you're an idiot. You need to resign. The whole thing with the Greenbelt scandal and the Ontario Place and Science Center scandals, that's enough for somebody to have to step down. So step down, Doug Ford. It's the honorable thing to do. You're not representing the will of the people. with your little pet project to help out Therme with their money. Yeah, nobody wants this project that you're doing with the spa down on the lake shore. And you should be resigning because of what you've done, because you're absolutely horrible at your job. That's what I have to say about that. But yeah, CNE is starting. So the summer is starting to show the signs that it's over. Vince Carter. Yeah, UC saying they've been around longer than the CBL. Wow, reminds me of the Canadians Habs from NHL. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Celtics in the NBA were in other leagues way before this NBA existed. The Boston Celtics were a team in other leagues pre-NBA, and their team kind of dates before like 1900. Seriously, it's crazy. The Celtics have a really long history that is beyond the NBA. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting stuff there. Yeah. All right, let's go and check on our tabs real quick. First of all, let's see. We'll go look at the straight goods on Canadian goods, guys. So today I want to talk about cleaning products again. I may have pushed this product before, but I want to do it again because I feel like cleaning products are something that people have to buy all the time. And, you know, it's not just about buying Canadian when you buy cleaning products. It's about buying green and buying biodegradable and, you know, stuff that's good for our environment. Because there is a lot of crap that we've been buying throughout history that was not good for our environment, but we have more information and we should be adjusting and doing things better for a more sustainable future for the children. So I say buy green and buy Canadian when it comes to cleaning products. And BioVert is a company out of Quebec, and they do eco-friendly cleaning products domestically. And they do laundry detergent, dish soap, fabric softener, bathroom cleaners, kitchen cleaners and degreasers, disinfectant sprays and wipes, floor cleaners, glass and window cleaners, all-purpose cleaners. This is all coming from BioVert, a company out of Laval, Quebec, fully Canadian-owned, manufactured and sourced. So it's a great product. If you see the label BioVert and it's a cleaning product, know that you're buying Canadian and that you're more than likely buying something that's good for the environment also. So BioVert, that's my spiel today. They sell all kinds of different soaps and cleaners that you can use to clean your house and, you know, feel good consciously about it because you're supporting Canadian industry and you're also supporting the environment. There you go. Yeah. Fiercely saying congrats to the River Lions. Not sure if they'll maintain a dynasty. It seems there's a lot of turnarounds in the CBL teams from year to year. Yeah, I think you're right. But I want to say this. They are a dynasty. And the reason why, Fiercey, is the Niagara River Lions, out of all the teams in the CBL, have appeared in the championship weekend more than everybody else. We've had 7 CBL championship weekends, which means there's a Final Four each one of those. And I would say this, out of the 7 years, Niagara River Lions have been involved in the Final Four 5 out of the 7 years. There's only 2 years they didn't go to championship weekend. Now, they've been in 3 finals. And they lost, 4 finals, I think. And they've lost 2 and they've won 2. So they get to the finals games often. So in some ways, they're kind of like the Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors of the 2010s in the NBA because they keep showing up at the end of the season in the championship game. So Niagara River Lions is a dynasty. Trust me. And they are a dynasty because not only have they won the 2 in a row these last 2 years, they've been coming to the finals almost every year since. Like all the whole time. So, and, you know, Edmonton won 2 in a row also. So in some ways you could kind of say Edmonton Stingers had a dynasty for a second, a repeat. But man, Niagara's definitely been the most winning team in the CBL's history. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You think turnovers is a better term to use? Turnovers, turnarounds? It seems like, it seems like there's a lot of turnarounds in the CBL. You're talking about like turnover and roster. So yeah, turnover may be the right word. Maybe change, like just the players change teams, free agency, switch around. Although, you know, CBL also has a system to keep players in places too if they want to. You know, it's not like they get locked down on long-term contracts that are huge, that are hard to trade. And it may be up to the player and the team, like that Rugsy guy who plays for Calgary last night. Apparently, he's friends with the owner of the Calgary Surge. And when they got the Calgary Surge, they already intended to have him on the team. And he called them as a friend. He said, hey, I'm getting my CBL team. I want you to come and play on it, Rugsy. I love you, Rugsy. Will you come play for Calgary? Yes. And then he showed up. And Ruggsy's played for the Surge every year since because he's personal friends with the owner. So in some ways, it's not like, I mean, if another team, maybe Montreal said, hey, Ruggsy, we want you to come and play for the Alliance. We'll pay you more money. He might be like, no, it's my friend's team in Calgary. I'm staying here. So there is the ability to keep players for long term because this Ruggsy guy has been playing for Calgary Surge for years now. And, if they don't want to leave the team, they can stick to one team. Now, if the teams are trading or they want to leave in free agency, sure, there's a shuffle. But there is the ability to hold on to players in the CBL, and there's not as much shuffling as the NBA. If a player like Ruggsy just says, hey, no, I'm just playing for Calgary. This is my team. I'm from Calgary. I'm best friends with the owner. I'm just playing for Calgary. I'm not going to try and go play for anybody else. There's a little bit of that going on in the league too. Khalil Ahmad, the superstar for Niagara, who's the 2-time MVP these last 2 years. Sure, you would think he's highly sought after around the league, and other teams may want to try and get him for a higher price from the River Lions. But I don't know how that works. I don't know how the ecosystem of player movement happens. And you may be surprised that actually players stick to their teams a lot more than you think. Now, we do know that some guys have shifted around. Obviously, Lefeli, he was on Scarborough and won a championship with them 2 years ago, and then he switched to Niagara, and now he's won 2 years in a row there. So it's interesting. Trades. I don't know all the different details of the player movement in the CBL. But that Ruggsy story blew me away. It's like, oh, he's best friends with the owner, and the owner just wants him to play for him, and he's not going to go play for anybody else. So it's different. It's different. Stargate's here. Good morning to Stargate. Always good to see Stargate in the chat. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Not much Raptors news, which is good in some ways. I see a lot of trade LeBron to Golden State rumors, though. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, there should be silence about the Raptors currently right this second because they really aren't doing anything. It's their last bit of the summer to enjoy their free time, not in the grind, not on the road, not with the teammates, not necessarily in Toronto. And, those kind of things, they got to get that out of the way. They got to have their fun. Scotty's got to spend time with Alyssa and the baby. These guys got to spend time with their girlfriends. These guys got to spend time with their parents. These guys got to go check in on their homies from back in the day and say, hey, what's up, Elijah? What's up, man? What's up, Elijah? Big time. Elijah Martin. What's up, big time? Toronto Raptors. Yeah, Elijah Martin. Toronto Raptors. Hey, man, how you doing? And, they got to do that. They got to go, hang out and see everybody before they go on their magical mystery tour, which is called the whirlwind of the Toronto Raptors season, where they just going to be whisking away all over the which way and playing basketball constantly and living in that grind and living in that life that's very different. So it's like they got to get all the freedom they can right now because this is the time when, they're off. They're off right now. That's right. It's fiercely saying, yes, exactly. The players often switch around. It's weird, probably noticeable as less teams than the NBA. I don't think they switch as much in the CBL. I really don't. I think that, part of the reason why is geographical. You know what? The CBL teams feature a lot of players from their home city. And in some ways, like, look, Ruggsy's from Calgary. And in some ways, there's guys that play for the Calgary Surge that came to play for the Calgary Surge because they were local players. They were people that didn't have to travel to Hamilton Honey Badgers or something like that to go play. They wanted to play in Calgary because that's their hometown. That's where their family is. That's where their friends is. And so a lot of the teams like Montreal, like Toronto, like Vancouver, they have local players from that city playing for them. And they're more likely to stay allegianced and stay there with that team because it's practical. It's practical, economically practical. It's like, well, my mom and dad live here in Calgary. I'm going to come play for the Calgary Surge. And they can come to my games. I can go home after the game. I'm playing professional basketball in my hometown. This is a lot of the phenomena. So you may be shocked at just how little movement there is because some of these players are playing for their hometown and they don't want to play for anybody else. It's like a Montreal player that speaks French wants to stay in Montreal and play for the Montreal Lions, right? They want to get up and go all the way to Winnipeg and play for Winnipeg? No, especially if they're paying that good and it won't be worth it to them. So you may be shocked. I don't think the player movement in the CBL is as vast or great as you think. I don't think it is. So, yeah, Cool Cat's here. Good morning to Cool Cat. Great CBL finals. Great CBL. Yeah, you watched it too. It was fun. It was exciting. I'm glad the game got close at the end. It looked like in the beginning that Niagara had their number, and this is like, oh crap, Niagara's just outclassing them, and Calgary's not surging back up to try and win. And well, they did. They did make it close, and they did make it exciting at the end, even though it at times it was like very evident the River Lions were winning the game most of the game. They were playing the right way and winning the right way. Cool Cats, and I think the only players that might switch around are the U.S. players. Yeah, that may be right. The U.S. players may be sought after and trying to outbid each other and paying for them and getting them to this team and stuff like that. Yeah, that may be right. You know, Jalen Harris was on Scarborough, and now he's on Winnipeg. So he's jumped around from a couple teams. I think he was also on the Honey Badgers for a little while. So, you know, there's been some movement with maybe the U.S. players. I think that's right. Cool Cat's right on that. I think that's right. Let's see. Our former Raptors are not as shooting stars anymore. Yeah, he was there for 2 years. Now he changed to Winnipeg. Yes, Jalen Harris, who I've declared a fraud after this past weekend, watching him play for Winnipeg on Friday night. I'm like, man, Jalen Harris is a fraud, man. That guy is not a good NBA player. He's not a good basketball player in some ways. He's a fraud. I'm telling you. He's a fraud. Fiercely saying, Lex, what is your impression of the Elam ending? Do you appreciate this initiative? Oh, great question, Fiercely. I appreciate it. Apparently, he was there last night. This is the craziest thing. Dr. Elam was in the house in Winnipeg for the CBL Championship ending last night. The guy who invented the Elam ending. Yeah, he's still alive. He's still around. He was there watching it played out at the end. I think it's a great kind of system. I think that there's some real pluses to it. I mean, there are some downsides, but in some ways, I do see it as being something the NBA may eventually get towards. Seriously. Because in some ways, it helps with scheduling for TV. If you do an Elam ending, you're more likely to finish the game on target. If you do an NBA game and there's overtimes and stuff, you're extending the period of the game much longer than what you had allotted as a broadcaster. And this can be a very problematic thing for channels like TSN and Sportsnet. So if the NBA wanted to control the length of the games to be exactly 2 hours, you do the Elam ending. That's what I'm finding. Because you can really manipulate it so that, whoa, there's extra periods all of a sudden. Oh, crap. That means we're going to be eating into the curling that's coming on after this. Or there's going to be this problem. There's a delay because the Raptors game went into overtime. They're using the Elam ending on G League already. And usually when they're testing things on the G League level, that means that is something very much strongly being considered to be utilized in the NBA main level. So, and they've been using the Elam ending for a few years there, and they haven't switched off of it. So that's a really strong sign that the Elam ending may eventually become a part of the NBA. And I'm not against it. I think that it works pretty well. The only problem I had with it in the beginning was you can win games on free throws. But, you know, Rob Black did a good job of selling this last night when Khalil Ahmad hit the 2 free throws to win the game last night. He said, you guys can't understand exactly how pressurized these free throws are. Free throws are already very tough to make in professional sports. But when the game is on the line for a championship, he like really built it up really well. And I was like, you know what? He's kind of right. He's kind of right. These are pressurized, really pressurized free throws. And, you know, the fact that Evan Gilliard a couple of games ago won a game on 3 straight free throws from getting fouled on a 3-point shot. You know, it's one thing to make 1 free throw to win a game, but to have to make 3 consecutive free throws in a row without a miss, to ice in your veins, to be able to make all 3 of those to seal out the game. You had to make all of them. He had to make all of them. If you missed one of them, they weren't going to win. And he had to make all of them. So, you know, I can see that whole side of things. That was one of my biggest distractions. I don't like a game being won on a free throw. Well, it's not always on a free throw. And often, if it is on a big, huge shot, it's very exciting because, boom, the game's over. And in some ways, also, it's not a game about managing the clock. That's another thing that's kind of annoying about NBA not with the Elam ending is because in some ways, coaches will manipulate and play that coaching chess with the clock and how much time is left on the clock and running it longer and dribbling out time just to kind of eat up time so you can take it away from the other team, possibly getting the ball the other side. So there's a couple of different things about it that make sense and I like. I think, you know, the more I really am going to be an advocate, like I said on my stream yesterday, to push the NBA to being more towards the FIBA rules. Because I feel like a world standard for basketball rules will make it way more easier for us to figure out a world champion. And that in some ways, the NBA might fix some of its own problems by adapting more of the FIBA rules. One of them mainly being injuries. Way too many injuries in the NBA. Why? Well, because in some ways, they're the way that the floor is chalked out, and also the fact that they play an extra 12 minutes the game. You know what? Not extra 12 minutes. Yeah, an extra 8 minutes in an NBA game than a FIBA game. That can actually add up over the time and the wear and tear of the whole entire season. Darko, like I said yesterday on the stream, if you guys didn't see it, Darko's openly publicly said that he feels like part of the reason why there's more injuries in the NBA than other places is because of the extra 8 minutes that NBA games are with 12-minute quarters instead of 10-minute quarters. So he feels like an easy way to shave some of the injuries is shave the time off of quarters in the NBA to the standard 10-minute quarters that the rest of the world plays with in their standard. So it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Yeah. I do like the Elam ending, and I think it's going to grow more. Yeah. Fiercely saying when the game is close, it brings out the competitive edge. I like it. Well, it means defensive stops. Seriously, like if you're the team who's behind in the target score time, you really have to get stops. You have to be able to defensively stop people. And the other thing I like about the CBL, the FIBA rules, is you can see the defensive pressure has more power in a game like the CBL. In the NBA, defensive players are not as powerful because they really made the game more offensive oriented and they made it easier for scorers to score. In some ways, it's the bigger court too. The NBA's court is slightly bigger than the FIBA court, and that bit extra daylight of moving around and maneuvering around the court and spacing helps offensive systems in the NBA, and scoring is easier. That's part of the reason why teams can stretch out and the floor and get those corner threes because people are running so far to get to that corner to get that shot. Well, in FIBA, with the hexagonal lane and the more extra contact that's allowed, well, defenses can be a little bit more powerful in trying to stop offenses. And in some ways, that is better basketball because you want the defense to be more equal with the offense. Seriously. Some people, well, scoring will go down. People won't score as well. Well, maybe they had too easy a time scoring. The red carpet was rolled out for them. And maybe they need a bumpy road to get to that basket. That's what they need. That's right. That's right. Smooth saying, what is the average salary in the CBL? I have no idea. I probably couldn't tell you that. I really probably couldn't tell you that, Reggie. I have no idea. I'm sure it's not anything glamorous, but I'm sure it's not chump change either. It may very well be like these guys are making 50,000 or 100,000 a year. I don't know. I would guess. Stargate saying this: the Knicks are looking dysfunctional right now with this Rick Brunson situation. The best player's dad is an issue for other players. And then there's the OG Cat situation. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that so much. I mean, the Knicks are going to be funny this year. Seriously, I'm already calling it. They're going to be like one of the weirdest dysfunctional teams this year. Watch. I skipped this comment with Cool Cat. I'll come back to it. Let's see. Jalen Harris looked bad this year in CBL. Still don't play much defense, but his offense dropped. Yeah, I don't think he cared. Like, I think at some point he realized I'm in Winnipeg playing professional basketball. What am I doing with my life? And now he's soul searching. He's like, he doesn't care. It's like he checked out. You know, when I watched that game the other night, he did not show an ounce of passion or give a fuck. The whole entire time he was aloof and just kind of like not even paying attention. So I'm like, man, something's wrong with Jalen Harris, man. Something's wrong with him. Dude, if it's going to be like this and you don't want to be on Winnipeg, go on then Australia. Go on then to NBL or go on then to EuroLeague or something like that, Jalen Harris. You ain't getting the NBA. Nah, you're done. You had your heyday. You're a little bit of time with the Raptors and the Knicks, but you're done. You're not coming back to the NBA. If you can't do it on the CBL level, if you can't be the man in that game on Friday night against the Calgary Surge, well, you ain't getting anywhere near the NBA, buddy. I'm sorry. You're done. You're done. You're done. All right, let's keep going with the chat. I'm sorry I jumped around on the comments. Didn't do them totally in order, but I got all of them, I think. Fiercely saying, I read Dennis Schroeder got a 3-year, $45 million contract with the Kings as a starting point guard. Happy for him. Yeah, I'm happy for Dennis also. I always wish well for Dennis Schroeder. I think he's a great guy. I like him. I think that he's a great basketball player. And in some ways, I root for Team Germany because of him. Seriously, I do. You know, Dennis has had such a weird career of jumping around all over teams, especially the time around the Raptors, going from Nets to Warriors to Detroit to just all over the place. And now he's on Sacramento. And, it'll be interesting to see the Kings. The Kings are not going to be a good team, but, Dennis is a good player. And I always wish him well. It is what it is. UC saying 10-minute quarters would make watching the game a lot more tolerable, considering how much timeouts and reviews are called in the NBA. Yeah, that was part of my spiel yesterday. Is the FIBA rules have a limit to how many stoppages they can do. Like, there's not as crazy stopping to watch cartoons. Now, there was a lot of it in the game last night for a little bit at the end of the game where they were trying to get a lot of out of bounds calls right and fouls right. And there was some stoppage to play in the CBL game last night, but it didn't seem like it was drawing away from it too much. The NBA has so much stoppage to play right now, and it's a problem. But the FIBA rules kind of have ensconced in it the ability to kind of move on fast. And one of them is no jump balls. No jump balls in FIBA. You have a jump ball at the beginning of the game, and that's it. Then it's a possession arrow for the rest of the game. And that takes a lot of waiting around, trying to set up jump balls out of the way. Also, there's a limit to the timeouts. The coaches only get 2 timeouts in the first half of FIBA games. There's no 30-second timeouts. There's no 3 or 4 full timeouts in the first half. You only get 2 timeouts as a team in the first half of the game. And that limits how much you stop the game because coaches can't keep calling timeouts. And, they're really smart about the flow and try not to run too much time off of not playing basketball, just standing around talking about what's going on. The NBA has a real big problem with this right now. There's way too much standing around. There's way too much Tony Brothers over at the side watching the screen with the headphones on. There's way too much of this. And some of the FIBA rules would fix some of this. Seriously, that's why I would push for this, man. That's why I push for that. Yeah. Let's see. Seymour saying, "Damn you, Niagara. Damn you." Yeah, I was like, listen, Niagara River Lions. It's funny. Wayne, we're in the stream last night watching the game, and Adriana's like punitive towards Niagara River Lions because she's mad because they put out Scarborough on Friday. So she's like Fiercey the other day. Fiercey's like, I'm rooting for Niagara because y'all put out Ottawa, Scarborough. So go Niagara River Lions is what Fiercey was saying the other day. Just strictly punitive because the Blackjacks got eliminated by the Shooting Stars. Well, it's the same thing with Adriana this weekend. And she's going F Niagara, go Calgary. And she's rooting for it. And then Wayne comes in. And Wayne's like, no, we're keeping the trophy in Ontario. Wayne's like, no, we got to keep this trophy in Ontario. Go Niagara. And somehow, some way, Niagara started kicking butt. It was like Wayne's trainer came in there. He was like pro Niagara. And all of a sudden, Niagara kind of took over the game around that time. And it was looking like that. And Wayne was saying, no, this is good. We want the Ontario to keep this CBL championship in our province, guys. We don't want it going all the way to Alberta. And then Wayne brought up the fact is like about Alberta's politics. And I was like, oh, yeah, Wayne's right. We don't want Calgary to win. I was like, we don't want Calgary to win. We don't want them to celebrate a CBL championship because of their shitty ass premier, Danielle Smith, and the fucking idiots over there. Fuck that. So I was like with Wayne at that point. I was like, yeah, Wayne's right. Fuck Calgary. I'm going for Niagara. Because I was kind of with Adriana at that point, kind of going for Calgary because of Scarborough getting put out. But it's like, man, nah, he's right. I can't root for Calgary to win because Alberta pisses me off. It was funny, man. It was crazy. Adriana's saying she still loves Scarborough. That's right. Lex is a turncoat is what she said because I switched teams in the middle of the game last night. Honestly, going into that finals game last night, I was like, let the best team win. I really didn't have that strong of an affinity for either one. I'm not so punitive like you and Fiercey about your team losing that I'm rooting for the team against the team that put you out. No, I'm more likely. This is my philosophy in the past, Adriana, is this. Like, look, if we got beat by this team, we want them to win because then we'll be beaten by the champion. So that's what we say today, Adriana, as Shooting Stars fans. Is that, well, we lost to the eventual champion in the semifinals. And that's honorable because, like, well, if the Niagara River Lions had lost to Calgary last night, then the Scarborough Shooting Stars more look like a 3rd or 4th place team, right? But in some ways, we can make the argument that maybe Scarborough would have beat Niagara better than Calgary, and in some ways, Scarborough might have been the second best team. So in some ways, the teams that beat you in the playoffs and put you out, sometimes you want to root for them because you look better for it because they win. And then you're like, oh, they did win in the end. Well, at least we lost to the champions, is what you say. That's right. But she calling me a turncoat for this. I get it. I get it. Listen, I have no strong affinity for either team. If Omari Moore was still on Niagara River Lions, I would have had a strong affinity for that team because I like Omari Moore. I think he's a fantastic player, former 905 Omari Moore. Evan Gilliard II was on Calgary, and I did have affinity for him personally as a great player for 905 last year. And I do really like Evan Gilliard. But in some ways, I really don't have strong ties to either team. So I was saying to the best team win. And the best team won. Niagara won. That's what happened last night. That's right. That's it. That's right. Seymour saying, Fiercey, he coming off the bench in Sacramento. Monk is already complaining about being the starter. Was Monk the point guard? That's what I'm wondering there. No, Malik Monk will have more of an argument with DeMar DeRozan about starting. If DeMar is not moving anywhere, isn't Zach LaVine there too? It's like, where's Malik Monk starting with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan there? Is Malik Monk a point guard? I always thought of him as a shooting guard. I don't know if Dennis is starting or not. Either way, DeMar DeRozan starting if he plays for the Kings. I know that. DeMar DeRozan starting, and probably Zach LaVine too if he's there too. So I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. Yeah, Monk point guard, LaVine shooting guard, DeRozan small forward, Chris Murray power forward, and DeMattis as the center. Okay, that's the lineup you see. See, I've never thought of Malik Monk as a point guard. In some ways, who's going to distribute the ball there? Seriously, between those three guys. Seriously, who's going to be the point guard? Is DeMar going to play point guard and Malik will act like he's the point guard? I don't see it, man. I'm not counting out any team this season. Only Washington, Charlotte, Utah are cooked. I mean, there's other teams that are cooked. The experts, there's an article out on ESPN this morning, of course, bullshit. And, there's a part in it that asks about which team's going to have a fall this year, which teams. It's kind of interesting who they pick. Let me just tell you the list because I see all the teams on this list falling as far as what they're saying. They're saying that these teams are going to take a tumble this year. Number one, they think the Milwaukee Bucks are for sure going to take a tumble this year. So they've seen Kyle Kuzma and that roster that Milwaukee has all of a sudden. So the experts are saying Milwaukee's fallen this year. I called that too. I called that like 2 months ago. They have number 2 on this list is the Lakers, guys. Is that because of DeAndre Ayton, NBA experts? It's like already, you guys are going to promote the hell out of the Lakers all year, but you're already saying they're going to be a failure. That they're the number 2 list on the failure list. Tied for third, they have the Celtics and the Suns, both taking a tumble this year. Yeah, we know the Celtics are taking a tumble. We know they are. The Suns are in a weird kind of another rebuild post Kevin Durant. I don't know what's going on with them. They also have the Sixers on this list. Where the hell are they tumbling from? They were already at the bottom from last year. So how the hell are you going to say they're taking a tumble? They're just staying where they were. And then finally, the Pacers is on this list. And that's mainly because of Halliburton and maybe the exit of Miles Turner. But yeah, I agree with this list. I think that ESPN's got a good list of teams that are going to make a tumble this year. I think that's all pretty right. Now, the teams that are going to rise up, well, the Raptors are not on the list, which is kind of bullshit because they don't see it happening. But yeah, number one, they think the Spurs are really going to come up this year with Wemby and the new look that they have. They have the Hawks tied with the Spurs too. So they really are big on the Hawks changes. I'm not. You guys are going to see the Hawks are not going to be that much better this year. Philadelphia. Some people are actually saying Philadelphia is going to rise up. So they're on both lists. They're going to tumble and they're going to rise. I guess that all has to do with the patella of Joel Embiid. Magic are also on the rising list, and Minnesota and Houston are on the rising list also. Yeah, I don't know, man. They can overlook us. They should have put us as number 5 on that list, but whatever. Yeah, ESPN, you're goofy. And in some ways, I don't even know why I check on you guys. I really don't. Fiercely saying at Seymour, Monk seems more fitted to be a shooting guard. Yeah, that's what I think too. He's a shooting guard. I don't really think of him as a point guard. But him already complaining signals upcoming tension in the team. Good luck to them. Dennis is a great point guard. That's right. I think that Dennis, it may be true though, Fiercely, that Dennis is not going to start. I mean, it'd be great if he did. I feel like he deserves it. But it probably is true. In some ways, he's been that kind of guy that's always kind of been, yeah, you're okay as a backup point guard, right, Dennis? That's fine. I will play any role that you want me to. That's kind of the way he's been. So, in some ways, in a world of egos in the NBA, Dennis is checking his ego for the better of the team, even when some people like Malik Monk probably should be too. Seriously. I mean, I get it. You've been a six man of the year, and maybe you've been lumped into that category over and over again, Malik Monk, and you want to expand, especially with some people leaving your team and possibilities opening up. But man, I think you going way about it the way you are with demands is not the right way. It's not the right way. That's right. She still loves Scarborough. That's right. Fiercey's got that Raptors starting five is way better than the Kings starting five. I agree with that. I agree with that completely. Absolutely. Raptors starting five is way better than the Kings starting five. And I love you, DeMar. I love you, DeMar. I love you, Dennis. Yeah, she said I'm a turncoat, but does that make it feel better what I said? As far as like, well, we lost to the champs and Scarborough, there's no disrespect in losing to the champions. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't just lose to them. We lost very close to them. We could have beat them. It's just Tarquavian Smith had to be a hero, take a off balance shot that was leaning. He could have dumped it off to Michael Foster Jr. and he would have dunked it and they would have won just on a 2-pointer. But no, Smith had to be a hero. He had to dribble in and try and elevate and shoot it himself. A bad shot selection. They should have used his teammates to seal the deal and just get the job done. And you could be a hero more in the middle of the game, but not at the end of the game. You need to get the execution of the right play at the end and calling your own number and isolation play in those kind of situations at the CBL level. Nah, it ain't going to work out right. You got to use your teammates. That's right. Fiercely saying WNBA, I got eliminated. Congrats to Meredith and good luck to the remaining teams. That's right. Let's check on our WNBA Fantasy League. We had the finish of the first round yesterday, and we're starting the new round today. And there were some matchups that happened. Of course, We the Best Race Daily beat James in the consolation yesterday. Mike and JP got sent to the consolation round, and they'll play the next round this week. Cool Cat will be playing Fiercey in the consolation bracket after losing their matchups. And now the final four, it will be myself versus Kareem in the one side of the bracket and Meredith versus Cass in the other side. Meredith, the two-time champion who had an undefeated season. That means he did not lose a single damn game last season. He got one tie, and the rest of them were all W's. And then Meredith, is against Cass. And Cass is the best record for this season, the number one team in the regular season for our WNBA fantasy. So this matchup is huge. And this is going to be a battle. Oh, my gosh. And Kareem and I, it'll be fun. I'll play full ass, and it'll be some trash talk, I'm sure. But, this matchup, the other one is really the championship. Because if Kareem or I go and play one of these other teams, I'm telling you, that other team's going to probably win. I think whoever wins the Trucker Kaz Meredith matchup is going to win this title, because I don't know. I'll give it a good shot in the second round, in the last round, if I do beat Kareem this week. But man, these two teams are juggernauts. It's going to be tough. There are some games today in the WNBA. They're not taking any time off. There's 2 games tonight. Connecticut Sun at New York Liberty with Madge Forsberg as the crew chief. Ashley Gloss is the referee. And Gerda Gatling is the umpire. Las Vegas Aces at Chicago Sky tonight. Jeff Wooten, crew chief. Jenna Renault, referee. Tyler Merkovich, umpire. Yeah, there's your ref report. And there's your WNBA fantasy report for the Raptor Freak WNBA Fantasy League. Yeah, good big-time stuff. Kaz versus Meredith. Woo! That is a battle. And Kareem, I'm coming for you right now. Let's go, Kareem Thomas. That's right. It's you and me in the semifinals of the WNBA Fantasy. That's right. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, fun times. I hope you guys have enjoyed playing this year. And, well, we're not totally done. We got 2 more weeks to go in the league. That's right. Let's check on our Instagram stories. Where in the world is Serge Ibaka? Yes, where is Serge Ibaka? Well, Serge is back to work, baby. He's got the ball between his feet, and he's sitting on the sideline of a court. So Serge Ibaka is back to work with the basketball, even though it's dubious about who he plays for. Who do you play for, Serge? Who are you playing for? You play in Spain still? Are you playing for Real Madrid? Are you playing for Bundesliga? Are you playing in Germany? Where are you playing, Serge? Why are you back to work? Is it just that you love the sport and you want to stay in shape and you're just going to play? Either way, I don't fault you, but I'm wondering, where are you going? Where are you going? I'd love to see you back in Toronto in some capacity, my guy. That's right. Slim Duck has got all the funnies on his Instagram. What's going on here? He's got Drewski like crazy on his Instagram. He's always posting Drewski, Chris Boucher. Always posting him in his goofy stuff. There's let's see, this is more of Drewski being goofy, people coming into a party. He's celebrating the Kobe Bryant Day yesterday, Chris Boucher, talking about how you work hard, you stay up late, you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you just got to push yourself. It's the destination, not the journey, is what Kobe Bryant says. That's right. Let's see. Chris has also got this part here that says, you are so polite and respectful. Your parents must have raised you right. And then how he was raised is Jamie Foxx in that one movie with Leonardo DiCaprio whooping that white guy. He's like, this is how I was raised. Wow. Oh, Chris. Oh, man, that's tough, man. He's also got Scarface up again. He's been posting Scarface a lot lately. It's the scene where Tony Montana is eating with Michelle Pfeiffer, and they're trying to have a nice dinner. And I think she's kind of all coked up, and Tony's all messed up too, and he's like mad. And he causes a scene, and then he stands up in the restaurant. He's like, "Well, none of you are better than me. You're all good lawyers. Look at me. You're liars. You're criminals too. You're not better than me." He's like, it's awesome, man. I love that. I love that scene from Tony Montana in Scarface, where he's yelling at the rich people in the dining hall because him and his wife had a problem. And also, Chris has got Stone Cold Steve Austin on his Instagram stories right now. And he's saying, how I come back to work after a vacation. Yeah, like Stone Cold coming out to a Battle Royal Rumble, and he's handing out stunners to everybody and knocking everybody out. It looked like when Stone Cold went regulated on the Invasion, the WCW Invasion. That's what Chris is doing. He's coming back to do Stone Cold stunners on people, I guess, in a Celtics jersey this year. We'll see, Chris. We'll see. I'm going to see you play against the Raptors this year. Jamal Shed is posting his teammate, Elijah Martin. Elijah did a little photo montage of his recent weeks in the summertime, and he's on the beach doing some push-ups, and it looks like Jamal Shed is putting him on blast. He's playing Morgan Wallen. Also, Colin Murray Boyles likes his teammate, Elijah Martin. He's reposted the same post, except Elijah's on the elevator listening to Morgan Wallen. We got Coach Andrew Jones, and his son is repping your boy Scotty with the number 4 jersey on there. And he's got some crazy glasses on. There's the CBL celebrating their championship night last night in Winnipeg. Great turnout in the crowds. Great event all around. CBL, man, you guys really are elite. You're putting the elite in the Canadian Elite Basketball League with your fantastic quality of everything. Very professional, very glossy, very good. Very good product. I'm proud of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. And guys, it's a good quality basketball. You guys are entertained watching it. There's a lot of good stuff to watch there. There's some old school throwback to it. Seriously, there's a little bit of a feel, the 80s, 90s NBA feel in it, which is awesome. Yeah, buzzer beaters and all kinds of stuff. All right, Bruno Fernando and Angola have done something big. They won the AfroBasket, guys. Angola winning AfroBasket tournament that just happened.